Not many towns have an amateur film group. Ours does. County Wexford Youth Film Project has called St Michael's Theatre home for the past 15 years. However, our theatre is much older than 15 years. It is over 100 years old.
As we walk around this building, if we touch the walls, we could genuinely be touching part of medieval New Ross. The Augustinian order arrived here in New Ross sometime around 1320, and they established a monastery on the site of the present St Michael's Theatre. This building became a theatre just immediately after the new parish church in the town was built in 1902. It left this building empty, and the local PP then, Father Kavanagh, I think it was, decided that it would be converted into a theatre.
We operate as a community-based theatre, so a lot of our productions are amateur productions. So our pantomimes, our musicals and our plays, a lot of those are performed by amateurs. So our percentage-wise, we would probably have maybe 70% amateur productions as opposed to professional productions.
We also accept the line who wants to journey on a gigantic yacht, and Hattie comes in there. Do I want a yacht? Oh yes, why not?
My name is Peggy Hussey. I've been living in New Ross since the late 60s, originally from Tramore. And when I came to New Ross first, I went to see the pantomimes here, found that they were just as good as the ones I'd seen in Dublin, and that's what drew me into St Michael's Theatre. I became involved firstly with the New Ross Musical Society, which was producing one musical every year, and it had we had mostly local performers, and our great star of the shows that time was Loretto O'Keeffe.
Oh, memory! I have so many memories. Now, we were the first, you see, when we came to New Ross, the Great Island, the power station opened up. There was a huge influx. 300 people came to town to work in that power station. So then we started this musical society. And a lot of the people from the ESB joined it. And we started then. And, you know, we had an awful cheek because the first production we had was Maritana, which is Grand Opera. Grand Opera. We hadn't a clue. And you know something? I met a lady on the street only yesterday. And she came up to me, she said, I remember you singing in Maritana. And Maritana was 50 years ago. So it hit the town like a bomb. It was wonderful.
Now, New Ross has had a great tradition of drama over the years. Many, many different groups have succeeded, and there has always been drama in the theatre. Personally, the local drama workshop, which I'm involved with now, is 30 years on the go, and very successfully so.
And of course, Peggy was a major part of our production because she would take over from the professional producer, and she would carry on from him while he was away. She was great.
So most of my time now is directing and not acting, but I have a great deal of friends, and really good friends, through the theatre.
My name is Keith Flanagan, and I'm involved in the theatre in St Michael's Theatre Musical Society. I'm also a member of New Ross Musical Society and New Ross Pantomime Society. Just being involved in these shows is such a huge commitment. People probably don't realise, you know, obviously the shows last for a week on stage, but there's months of preparation that goes into that beforehand.
You had to learn your entrances, your exits, then you went home and you had to look after your family. I was teaching, was doing night classes, and I had 5 children at the time, so I can tell you it was a lot of work.
In terms of the numbers, you could have anything between 20 people to maybe even up to 80 people on stage for the musicals or the pantos in particular when all the kids are involved. The numbers are very big, and you can have another 10 to 20 people operating behind the scenes, backstage areas, makeup and all.
There were people in charge of costumes, people readers, people who stepped in if you were missing. You know, a lot of people were involved.
Pretty much everybody gives their time voluntarily. That's I suppose the wonderful thing about it.
My name is Maureen Kiley, and I've been involved with the theatre, especially the Pantomime Society, since 1968, working backstage.
We were one big family and we had such great fun.
I made such good friends from the panto, and still, I know we're all getting older, but I still have some great friends that I made working in the dressing room.
I decided to take part in the youth film projects mainly because as a kid, and even now, I had a huge interest in filmmaking, and at the time I never really had a way to kind of be creative in that sense and kind of meet like-minded people. So when I saw, when I had the opportunity to take part in such a project like this, I took it with both hands. The youth film project was probably one of the best experiences I had as a teenager growing up in Ross. Being a part of the youth film project definitely, not only did it solidify that I wanted to pursue this as a career, but when I went to university to study TV and media production, throughout my entire first year, we were learning skills that I had already done 2 years previous on the project. So it kind of gave me an advantage in a way that I kind of knew how things worked on a film set and stuff like that. Like I knew how to operate a camera.
Gosh, it was a major outlet for people. Major, that was very important, you know. There's somewhere to go. We were quite happy to learn to sing, happy to learn to act, how to move on stage. It was very important, really very important.
So local shows sell really well in the theatre, and this is partly because lots of local people are in them, which helps to generate an audience, but also because the standard is so high. So in New Ross, we're really lucky that our local shows are of such a high standard that people come from far and wide, and actually they sell out mostly, which is really good.
Wonderful voice, and you'll be 9 to 5 next weekend.
My name is Seamus Scottie. I've been associated with this theatre for over 50 years. I was born and raised less than 100 metres from here in Michael Street.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burden be.
The town without a theatre would be an absolute disaster. If you think of the hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people over the year. So anybody that's interested in music or dancing or whatever, this is their first step from being very small to right now somebody like me who's 74 years old.
It's a great facility, and for youngsters, for kids who have an interest and want to be involved in music, in acting, in dance, you need a stage, you know, and this provides it, you know. Otherwise we're just singing into our hairbrushes in our bedroom. So it's good. It's great to have a stage like this and a place like this. I think we're very, very fortunate.
Our schools are very involved in the theatre. So we have our local primary schools are either coming in to see shows or taking part in shows. Likewise, our secondary schools. Then you have lots of people who perform in the theatre. So really, St. Michael's Theatre is at the centre, at the heart of the whole community.
I suppose the main role I think the theatre has in the local community is that it's always a constant. I mean, you could come in here and there's always something going on, be it the youth film project, the two musical societies we have, like the drama, anything in between. You could always come in and there's always an excitement about like whatever's happening on in the theatre.
Stop, and you stop. So you're all talking to him like this, like that, and then you go stop, and you stop, and then you stop, and you can actually get into your previous part.
Very important to have a local theatre in a town. How you can really measure this is when towns don't have them. So lots of towns our size have no theatre, and then they don't have musical societies, they don't have drama groups. It's very difficult for people to find an avenue to perform.
And I think we probably don't realise how lucky we are to have it. There was I think it was maybe about 10 years ago, there was talk of the theatre closing down.
Yeah, the theatre did run into difficulties, and on the 12th of January 2012, things were in a pretty bad state.
I cannot imagine this town not having a theatre, not having a musical society, not having a pantomime. All these things are huge outlets for young people, and you know, they're great.
The reaction of the local community that the possibility of the theatre closing down was enormous.
The community really rallied behind it when there was the threat of it closing down, and I think that it really showed how much it meant to everybody and how much it meant to the community. And I think it would have been a huge loss had it closed down.
I couldn't imagine the town without a theatre, really, because it's been kind of the centre of everything. If the theatre went, the town would be very sad. There'd be nothing.
We then went about fundraising ourselves, and we started a 300 club, which has now turned into bingo. The 300 club's still going, and like all theatres, it's an ongoing struggle, and it is just great to see that it is now absolutely flying. And things that we still need, of course, would be a new roof would maintain the building for many, many moons to come.
Give them what they want. It's time to get it. Then you've got to leave them wanting.
I'd like to just say that, to add that, I've enjoyed every minute of my years in working backstage in the theatre, and I hope I can go on for a few more years yet.
If it had closed, we couldn't have made this film. Many jobs would have been lost, and the community would have lost its spirit.
Reverend sisters, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for a wonderful attendance to our film. Madam President, Mr. Taoiseach, sir, do you mind if I leave the stage?
I just want to say a thank you to all those young people who are doing their performances in the Musical Society and in the, as I said, in the New Ross Singers, the Pantomime Society. I just want to say a big thank you to all of them, because it's wonderful in this town. It's a great town.